Welcome back to another episode of the Sharp Sports Report with a new rebrand, a pretty nice one, if I do say so myself. I don't know why I got out of the way because you can't see it because I don't have it, but Brandon has it. The TSSR Sharp Sports Report logo, brand new, is blue and is beautiful.
It's quite sexy.
It's quite
I
sexy.
was blown away once the graphic designer sent me the email with the work he did. There were some other ones that I got to show you and Alec over the weekend, but this was kind of like a unanimous decision because this is pretty damn sleek.
It is. It is slick. It is, as Brandon said, quite sexy. And it's a good thing to have moving forward. But speaking of moving forward, we got to talk about some NBA teams that are moving forward to the Western Conference Finals and Eastern Conference Finals. We'll start on the Eastern side because the Western one is a little more wild. The Celtics and Grant Williams absolutely trounce.
Rephrase that. It's now Steph Williams.
It's
Stephen Williams.
Stephen doesn't surprise me. When he had 8 threes, absolutely bonkers as the Celtics roll over the Bucks. They don't roll over Giannis. They roll over the Bucks because Giannis still did his thing.
What do you have? 200 points and 100 rebounds or whatever in the whole series, like the first time ever that's ever happened.
It's like 200, 100, and then 50 assists. It was
unbelievable.
Wild.
But I will say, I think a key factor in that series was not having Chris Middleton. Easily not having Chris Middleton. Because if they would have won that game 7, I bet you there was a good chance he would at least made the back half of the next series against Miami.
Well, yeah, and you're missing consistently really good playoff three-point shooting. He also, last year, the year before that, had he can drop 50 points in a playoff game if he needs to. And no one else on that team, when he's gone, can do that with Giannis. He's also very, very, very solid on the defensive end, which is something that the Bucks lacked when trying to guard both Brown and Tatum. And then Al Horford, who came out of freaking nowhere and decided to become Jesus Christ 2.0. The Bucks didn't play terribly. The Celtics just played spectacularly.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
It's wild.
Can we now officially put Tatum in as one of the top 5 players in the NBA right now?
You can't argue against it, really, can you? I mean, you could, because he really wasn't the reason they won this past game. Like we said, Grant Williams, Al Horford. He was the main force behind them winning the series, but it came down to the more spectacular role players. Like Peyton Pritchard even had 17 points. But I mean, look, if you're not going to put him in top 5, he's top 7. He's right on that edge of top 5. I think I would personally put him in the top 5, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the dude is, I think, one of the most complete all-around players. He can play defensively. He may not play that athletic type, I guess. When I'm saying in the athletic type way, I guess when I'm thinking of that athletic player, I'm thinking of, your John Morant's or your Donovan Mitchell's or just players like that who can just kind of jump out of the gym who are super athletic midair. But he can get to the foul line consistently with how big he is and how strong he is down low. He's got a beautiful turnaround. I know he mimics his game after the Mamba himself, Kobe Bryant. He wears the same little forearm band like he did. I expect big things for Tatum. I thought he was going to be at least have one ring by now, especially a couple years ago when they had Kyrie and everything. I was like, wow, that's a great squad. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Irving. I mean, unbelievable. But at the same time, when is the last time Al Horford put up 30-plus points in a playoff game?
Oh, he sure as hell didn't do it for the Sixers, I'll tell you that.
I mean, yeah, he didn't do it in Game 7, but that was huge for him to do that. To have a player like that. Does he start for them? Is he in their starting lineup or is he a bench player?
I think when Robert Williams is healthy, Al comes off the bench. But I think since he's been battling injuries and all that, Al started most of this series.
I
played
think Robert
fantastic.
Williams, though, will come back, which I think will be huge for this next series against Miami, which I think this might even be a better series than a Miami and Bucks series.
Oh, undoubtedly better than a Miami Bucks. I mean, it'd be a rematch of what we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals. What was that, 2 years ago, or was that last year?
Last year, wasn't it?
Or I don't know. I don't remember.
Bucks Heat.
It might have been a second round thing. I don't remember. Um, but I mean, you look at the way Jimmy Butler played against the Sixers. Not only was he a defensive threat like he always is, the man was like scoring 40 points a game almost. Like he was playing out of his mind scoring wise, and that makes you really think: can the Heat offensively keep up with the Celtics, which was the main concern for me at least, because we both know that both these teams play with great defensive intensity and they can lock you down any given night, but does that offensive firepower, can the Celtics whittle away at the Heat more than the Heat can whittle away at the Celtics? I still think the Celtics will win this series probably in 6, but it will be a hard fought series.
Oh, absolutely. I think great series to watch. Over under 6 games for that series, though.
I mean, if I'm betting money, it's going to be over 6. I'm saying it's going to be 6, but it's either going to be 6 or 7. Like it's got to be.
I mean, I would not be surprised at all to see this series go to 7 games. And as of right now, I'm like in a toss up of who to pick right now between those two teams. Because I know Lowry was dealing with some injury concerns with the 76ers series. But if he comes back fully healthy, then that kind of changes the whole dynamic of the Miami Heat going forward in that series. But I think I just think it'll be a great, great series to watch. If I were to pick someone right now, though, just because that's what we do on here, we just got to make our picks to let the people know, I would probably take the Celtics in 7.
Yeah, you can't deny it. I mean, they played even the games they lost to the Bucks. Like they were games they were one basket away from winning. Like they could have won that series in 6. Um, and they're just on an absolute. I mean, they've been on a tear since the All-Star break. They've been the best team in basketball, arguably, since the All-Star break. They were 500 then, and now they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's just wild. I mean, another team that we thought was the best and hottest team in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns. Well, they crumbled in Game 7. I mean, that was horrendously bad. It's another dark splotch on the career of Chris Paul and just on the Suns organization, who can almost never seem to catch a break. The one time they were able to catch a break, or the 2 times at least, they made it to the finals, and then they played teams who they were nowhere near as good talent-wise. So, I mean, it is wild. That Game 7 was wild.
I didn't even
Yeah.
watch the start of it, but then like when I was like, hey, I forgot. Phoenix and Dallas are playing right now, and I think this was at what was this, about 8:45, maybe 9 o'clock. Maybe it was I don't know. But I opened up the ESPN app, go to the game, and I was like, holy shit. It's like a 24-point game right now before halftime. And Luka Magic, by the way, had the same amount of points in the first half as the Suns' whole team did, which is absurd. Listen, a lot of people are going to hate me for it. And if you hate me for it, either tweet at this little segment right now that I'm about to have, tweet at me. You can give me all the hate you want. I still don't think Luka is that guy. There's something about him and about how I see him play and how he handles himself. I don't see him winning more than 1 ring in his entire career, if he even wins one. I don't know. There's just something about him. I don't like the way he plays. Yes, he plays very physical. He's a big dude on the offensive side. His defense is subpar, just subpar defensive.
At best.
Exactly. Yeah, you hit it right there on the head. His defense is just more horrible than any average type of defender at all. I would rather choose Boban Marjanovic defensively than Luka Doncic. But I get it. He's got these crazy little step back things, but at the same time, I even noticed in Game 6 and Game 7 of Phoenix that Phoenix, when he does that little stupid spin move to get out beyond the 3-point line, none of the Phoenix players want to get close to him because he is one of the biggest floppers and fakers in this league. And I love what Devin Booker did. If you haven't checked the reel I posted a couple of days ago, it was the part where Devin Booker just kind of fell on the ground, smiled at the camera, and said, "That's the Luka special," because that's what Luka does. I think he's a whiner. He thinks he's a top dog. I don't like Luka. I have mad respect for him because, yes, he can put up points. I just don't like the way he plays the game. I don't think he's enough to carry the Mavs. And honestly, I said it on the reel I did today. Warriors in 6. Absolutely. I think Klay Thompson is going to have a fantastic Western Conference series against Dallas. I don't think Dallas has an answer for Golden State. Even if they shut down Steph Curry for a game or two, you still have Jordan Poole, who's been amazing. Just like you said, Andrew Wiggins can go off for 20, 25 plus, just a game to help them close out a game. I just don't like Luka. I'm going to stick with it. Congratulations to the Mavericks and Luka. And hey, also, big shout out to Jason Kidd. I think he's been a great coach. Honestly, I think he's been a great coach for that organization. But it's time for Luka to be put in his place. And I feel like game 1 and 2, Warriors are going to win by 20 plus points. Sorry for the rant, people, but I just had to say it.
I can't agree with you on the fact that Luka is not that guy. I hate him for all the reasons you hate him. He's attitudinal.
I don't hate him. I don't like the hype everyone gives him, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, you don't like the hype because of the person he is, not the player that he is. Like, he plays no defense, and that's we're looking at prime James Harden. If prime James Harden passed more.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're looking at this point. And a lot of people are drawing comparisons. I was like, oh, well, Luka could do what Dirk did in 2011. And
no.
I have two reasonings as to why not. One, 2011 was a completely different era of basketball where you could have one superstar and win a championship. You can't do that anymore because the talent pool in the NBA is even bigger since then. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't think prime Tyson Chandler would start on many teams in the NBA right now.
No, because all the teams are going small ball pretty much.
Exactly, because it's scoring. They're focusing on scoring now. And one guy can only put up so many points. In 2011 NBA, if you lock it, they weren't as focused on scoring. You could lock someone down an entire game and win, and that's what the Mavs did against the Heat in 2011. And 2, Dirk is Dirk. Dirk could take an entire game, slow it down, and make one possession last 3 minutes. He'd find a way to do it because he'd shoot, rebound, then post you up again, then shoot again. If he missed it twice in a row, which was rare, then he'd get another rebound, he'd pass it around, and it was a slow-moving offense that would take time off the clock, and they would win that way. The Mavericks don't do that right now. They get as many shots up as possible. They're very shoddy. Like by that, I mean they don't make shots consistently. And 3, they have no defense. And if you're going against the Warriors, who will put up 130 points against some of the best defenses in the league, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
But Luka is that dude. I mean, I mean, we just saw it. He had 27 points in the first half of a Game 7 in the playoffs. I think he can be that dude.
He can put up points. I'm not denying that at all. I don't think he's the guy who's going to win a championship at all. It's just like you said. It's James Harden, but a better passer. Has James Harden won a ring?
No, because James Harden, when he played for the Rockets, he would take way too many ill-advised shots, and team efficiency would go down 20, 30%, and they'd waste possessions. And that's
what I'm trying to get at, because how many times have we seen Luka shoot 1 of 10 from 3 or like 6 of 24 from the field? I mean, didn't James Harden do that in Houston?
Yeah, but then Luka will also have like 11 or 12 assists. James Harden would do that and have like 3 when he was in Houston. I just think he can be that guy, He just needs help. A lot of it. Like he needs a big man who can diversify that offense, and he needs at least a more solid wing than Tim Hardaway Jr. I love him, but he needs someone a little more solid than that.
Do you know who I think is gonna? Because I have noticed if you get under Luka's skin enough, he just kind of collapses and flops almost every play. And you know who's the best player right now to do that he's about to face?
Oh, Draymond. Yeah.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
I mean, who better to just get him rattled? I mean, that
Oh
is
my
the
God.
ultimate antagonistic player in the NBA right now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like him. Like could you imagine the Warriors having Pat Beverly and Draymond Green?
Nasty. Listen, any team in the West right now who wants to contend, you gotta be trying to find a way to get Pat Beverly. Like he is the perfect dude for a team in the West who's looking to make a deep run because he pisses everyone off, but he also locks people down.
Yeah.
And since we're speaking of Pat Beverly, if you didn't see today, he was on ESPN ranting on the Suns and Chris Paul because he hates Chris Paul with a fiery passion. And I think some of the stuff he said, most of the stuff he said, was disrespectful. But there was one point that I partially agreed with, and it was we give praise to CP3 all the time, even though he's had a ton of postseason collapses, Game 7 collapses in the playoffs, in this past series against the Mavericks. After the Suns went up 2-0, he averaged 9 points a game, had 25 total assists, and 18 total turnovers. I mean, that's a collapse of the century. I mean, he's played, this is probably might be the worst series he's played.
He's 0-7 in Game 7s in his career.
It's it is disgustingly bad, and yet he still receives a ton of praise. People trying to vie him as the top point guard in NBA history, and then other guys who show collapses that aren't even as bad as Chris Paul's. Like Paul George, his collapses in the playoffs. That's him going from like averaging 27 points a game to like 20 or 18 in that range.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, "Oh, pandemic P, what a bum." It's like, why are we hating on all these other players, but still raining Chris Paul with so much love?
I don't know. It's because I remember I asked you guys that question. Is he one of like the best point guards of all time? Is he in the conversation for top 5?
He's
And I
definitely in the
know we have
conversation for top 5.
I know
But
we have a close, Phoenix Suns fan on the show, or part of the group. I should say part of the group, but a viewer and a follower of us as well. That's Derek Foster. Shout out to you, by the way, man. Tough loss for you guys to go out the way you did. You guys lost by almost 50 points, but hey, it's whatever. I've never seen Devin Booker shoot that horribly, or just the whole team in general shoot that horribly. I mean, that was awful. And I think Devin Booker said it the best. Like, you expect to have those shooting woes and those nights in the regular season, but never in a playoff game. And he just said maybe it's just one of those times where the timing just wasn't right and no one was hitting their shot. But Kellen, I mean, you had to be happy though because Boban got in there.
well, think if you find a way to piss Boban Marjanovic off at the end of the game, then you know that you are in the wrong. If you make Boban angry, no one is defending you because everyone loves Boban, and Boban is the pure image of joy in the NBA. Everyone
It was
loves
actually
Boban.
Aaron Holiday who pissed him off.
Well, Aaron Holiday, go you know what yourself because Boban is a national treasure.
So after talking about Luka and the Warriors and whatnot, the Warriors have had a couple extra days to rest. I don't know when these games start. Is it tomorrow or Wednesday?
Tomorrow.
All right. So we've already picked. Oh, you have a major pick for the Heat Celtics.
Yeah, I did.
Or
I picked the Celtics in 6.
All right. Oh, you're picking them in 6.
In 6.
I said Warriors in 6 on my reel on Instagram. Go check it out. Go follow us at the Sharp Sports Report on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Hey, also, don't forget, hit that follow button and the subscribe button. Hit the little bell icon on the right. Be notified every time we post a new video, episode, you name it. Same thing with Twitter. We have polls running like crazy on Twitter right now. Kellen and I have talked. We are going to start bringing on just people who want to be on the show to talk sports with us. If that is something you want to do, I will make a poll. Oh, wow. I can't even talk. I will make a poll tonight on that. So if you are close with Kellen and go to school with him, make sure you are following us on Twitter so you can be a part of that voting system as well. And then we'll just kind of go through a list of everybody, write them all down, start bringing people on. Because in the summertime, which is in about like a month, that's when we kind of transition into college football, which is fantastic. But I'm taking Warriors in 5. Warriors in freaking 5. Dallas gets one game at home. Golden State wraps it up at home.
I'm trying to think because I want to pick Warriors in 5 too. But I had the Suns in 5 last time, and Luka pulled off way more games than I was expecting him to do. And I think he'll do it again. I think he'll pull off an extra game more than he probably should. So I'll take the Warriors in 6. I think he'll sneak one in Golden State. He'll have it's Luka. The dude scores like it's nothing, and someone else on that team will have a good game along with him. Whether it's Dorian Finney-Smith, who has another great crazy 3-point barrage, or Spencer Dinwiddie, or someone
Jalen
else on that.
Brunson.
Jalen Brunson. Thank you. Someone else will have another good game, and they'll win 2 games, but majority of the series will be dominated by the Golden State Warriors.
It'll be fun. I'll be glued to the TV tomorrow night, especially. I would love to see. Are both games tomorrow, or is it just one?
Let me find that out for you because I am not entirely sure. Tomorrow is just the Celtics and Heat at 8:30 on ESPN, and the Mavericks and Warriors play Wednesday at 9 p.m. on TNT.
Because I would love to see how Dallas comes out on the first couple minutes of that first quarter. If they come out sluggish, the Warriors are so good about taking advantage of that right away. I mean, just right away. So I'll be interested in that, but I still think the Warriors take game 1. I think they win by 22 points. Game 1, I believe it's at Golden State, correct? Or is it at Dallas?
No, it's at Golden State. Isn't Golden State
Even
the 2
better.
seed? Yeah.
Even better. Even freaking better. No, Memphis was the 2 seed.
Then Golden State's the 3 seed. All I know is that Dallas is not above the Warriors.
Well, duh. We'll see. We'll see what they do in the offseason. They need a lot of help. But also, outside of basketball, Kellen, you talked about it. It was a chock full Sunday of Game 7s, 2 of them in the NHL. Pittsburgh takes on the Islanders, and then Dallas Stars go into Calgary, which I saw some of the footage from the fan base outside of the stadium. That was awesome. That's probably the coolest fan base I've seen outside of a hockey arena.
Canadian hockey. Well, it was in general Saturday and Sunday a wild weekend for the NHL. I mean, you have the Hurricanes who knock off the Bruins in 7. They win their game 3-2. Tampa Bay also a game 7 where they beat the Maple Leafs, who Brandon, the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the most historic teams, if not the most historic team in NHL history, hasn't won a playoff series since 2004. Holy crap, is that bad? And then also another game 7, the Edmonton Oilers take down the Kings 2-0, which, I mean, people are complaining about not being enough star talent in the this next round of the NHL playoffs. You got to be kidding me. Connor McDavid's probably the best player in the NHL right now. Plays for the Oilers. You got to be happy that he's in the second round because the Oilers have been struggling to progress consistently. So it's nice to see Connor McDavid get past the Kings in other games in Game 7. And would you look at this? Another Game 7 between the Penguins and the Rangers. Rangers come back in overtime to knock off Sidney Crosby and the Penguins.
And it was a crazy finish, too.
Wild finish. Crazy goal. Absolutely bonkers goal. And the Rangers, who have kicked butt the past couple years in the NHL, I only know that because they've whooped on my Flyers so many times of late.
Hold on. I got to correct myself because you're saying Rangers. I think I said Islanders.
You might have said Islanders.
Rangers. I'm sorry, hockey fans. I know that's a sin to get those mixed up. So I apologize.
No, but like I said, the Rangers. Well, a couple years ago when the Flyers were the 1 seed, the Rangers came in and whooped our butts, and that was very depressing. And now we're not even in the playoffs. And as you mentioned, man, the Calgary Flames beat down. Not really, but they beat the Dallas Stars. I hate Dallas in all facets of all sports, but I do like Mark Modano. He doesn't play there anymore. He hasn't played there for like 20 years, but he was a Dallas Star at one point. Um, and I mean, you look, you have literally two Canadian teams moving on in the playoffs, and neither of them are the two most popular teams, the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. But it's kind of cool to see the losers of
Yeah,
Canadian
it's nice to
hockey.
see a change of teams in the playoffs in general advancing on.
Which may I add, if you were to go back in the history of the last decade of the NHL, you tend to see a switcheroo, like a nice influx of teams, champions, a lot of repeats. Like in the early 2010s, you had the Kings and the Blackhawks and the Penguins doing all their stuff, but there was at least a nice flow of teams coming in and out, and at least trying to compete. And that's one thing I've always applauded the NHL for being able to do is just there's a nice flow, and the sports playoffs doesn't get stale. Like I don't watch regular season hockey, but postseason hockey is different, and there's a different vibe. And I even watch teams I really don't even care about.
Yeah, it was a great weekend for just sports all around. There was so much going on. Another shout out to our viewers and followers on Twitter. I did put up a poll about what you guys wanted to hear more of. It was actually a three-way tie between MLB, college football, and NFL, I believe was the other option I put on there. No one voted other, which was kind of surprising. But since you guys voted on everything, here's a little baseball information over the weekend. Hunter Green, rookie sensation pitcher from the Reds, literally pitched a no-hitter and lost the game. Pitched a no-hitter, got
And
pulled in the 8th inning, and lost the game. First time in history, I think a team has won a game with no hits.
which there was a question. There was a question.
Like the Pirates. The Pirates.
The Pirates are the team you managed to lose to while throwing a no hitter.
Even though the Reds are the worst team in baseball, but
Well,
they've got a
Pirates
bright
are
future with this Hunter Green
Pirates are
kid,
a
though.
very slow, very close second, as they were the worst team in baseball for the past like 5 years. But there was a question posed on ESPN where it was like, should the Reds be at least moderately proud that they threw a no hitter, even though they lost? No.
A loss is a loss, and
A
you
loss
lose a
is a
no
loss.
hitter.
It's even more disappointing that you lost a no hitter. You're like, oh, well, maybe you can look at your future, have this really great young pitcher. Yeah, you have this great young pitcher, but if he continues to throw no hitters and you continue to lose, does it matter? No.
So it's been absolutely crazy. I mean, on top of that, I'm a Cubs fan, and I know the Cubs won. And Justin Steele, who they drafted in 2015, was the first time since Jeff Samardzija. So the first time a Cubs drafted player for the Cubs got 10 Ks in his starting, I guess, whatever day. Justin Steele at 10 Ks. Cubs win 3-2. They're not good this year. I think they're like in third place. I think they're 7 games under 500. Kellen, also for your Phillies news, I sent you that video over the weekend on our story as well.
Let's focus
I
on
think
the
it was
good, though.
Abdul Herrera who decided to swing at a ball that went between his legs.
Odubel, get it right. Odubel. Okay. But guess what, Brandon? We played the Dodgers 4 times this weekend. You know how many times we won?
3.
Swept them. We swept the Dodgers this past week.
Yeah, and your guy also swung at a pitch that literally went between his legs and bounced between
That's bad.
legs.
That's pretty bad. I can't defend that, but I can say that Kyle Schwarber was looking nasty. Bryce Harper was looking nasty, and Rhys Hoskins joined in on the fun too. So, if Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper are getting hot at the same time,
you're not catching the Mets.
No, I just want to make the fucking wild card. We haven't made the playoffs in 10 years.
And Alec, I know you're not on this episode tonight, but you and I talked about it. And I even said them, watch out for the Mets to be the new Kings of New York. And they're looking like the new Kings of New York. But Aaron Judge has been on a tear lately, along with Giancarlo Stanton. The Yankees have looked good. I like their new pitcher, that Nestor Cortez Jr. Dude, just a goofy dude. He's awesome. Shohei Ohtani made some history this past week, and I think he was the
He's
first
always
player to
making
have
history.
100 home runs and 100 strikeouts.
100 home runs and 250 strikeouts.
Within like the first 2-3 years or whatever it is?
No, just in history.
Oh, well, congratulations to Shohei. The dude's unbelievable. I think the Angels are a pitching piece away from being favorites.
Well, I think they found their new pitcher.
Syndergaard.
Is it Noah Syndergaard? Are you sure?
Well, no, I don't think it's Syndergaard. It's Shohei Ohtani. He's like their best pitcher right now.
No, I would disagree. Because I mean, if they would have somehow kept Albert Pujols for a couple more years, the man just pitched in the ninth inning. Maybe is he the greatest two-way player of all time?
What is he, the next Mariano Rivera? He's going to close out the games for the Cardinals. I think Alec would be shitting a brick right now if he heard that Albert Pujols is the new Cardinals starter.
That'd be hilarious. I would love it.
I mean, it was just a great weekend in sports. I know there was some soccer action too. I think La Liga was going on this weekend.
Well,
from what I saw yesterday, I was watching Sevilla and I forgot who else was playing, but that was a La Liga matchup that I was watching. But I know Chelsea was playing over this weekend. Liverpool, were they playing over this weekend?
Well, Chelsea and Liverpool played each other in the FA Cup, and Liverpool won 6-5 in pens.
And didn't Salah get hurt again?
Yeah, he did, but it didn't matter. Didn't matter because that team was overly stacked and their head coach is an absolute boss. But Tottenham beat Arsenal, baby.
So what does that mean? Because I'm not invested in soccer like you and Alex.
So Tottenham and Arsenal is like Eagles Cowboys. And Arsenal was ahead of Tottenham in the standings. Arsenal was 4th, Tottenham was 5th. Spots 1 through 4 in the Premier League get their seats locked in for the Champions League, which is a very big thing in soccer. So Tottenham beat Arsenal. So they jumped ahead of Arsenal by, I believe it was 1 point, maybe? I don't know. I forget. No, I think it was 2 points. I don't know. I forget the exact pointage. And then Tottenham won again on Sunday. So they jumped ahead a little more, and Arsenal lost today. So that gap is very, very wide. And now all Tottenham has to do is tie their game, which would equate to 1 point. And they would lock up their position in the Champions League, which is very big for Tottenham, considering that they are going under a moderate rebrand now that Antonio Conte is their new manager, which is a very big thing. It's like if Mike Shanahan, prime Mike Shanahan, was at prime Mike Shanahan at Washington when he was rebranding there, if that was more successful. Not Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan. So yeah, it's just a pretty big weekend for Tottenham, at least, and a pretty big weekend for Liverpool. And considering Man City drew Aston Villa, the title race for the European Premier League has become a lot tighter between Liverpool and Man City. And Man City's won like 3 years in a row, and no one wants them to win again because everyone hates them. So, if I didn't make any sense, I'm sorry. I'm not great.
No, it's all good. Listen,
explaining. Alec is a better explainer of soccer things than I am. I just like to watch.
And I know Alec and you have started this whole bar down thing along with the Sharp Sports Report. We're hoping you guys can get back onto that. I know Alec's been super busy, so we apologize he's not here again this evening. But just to reiterate everything from this past week, and there was so much stuff going on. A bunch of rookies in the NFL signed great contracts. I know Drake London got a 4-year deal guaranteed of like 22-something million. Was watching some videos of, I guess, I don't know, would you call that OTAs right now, or is that just rookie training camp starting out?
Rookie mini camps, yeah.
There were some videos of Tua Tagovailoa throwing the ball to Tyreek. Everyone's giving him crap. It's freaking mini camp. I'm not even worried about it.
I mean,
But we'll talk about that.
It looked
We'll talk
horrible.
about that another day. Other rookies getting, equipmentized and getting some runs in. We are 103 days away from college football. We will have a countdown every episode. We will update you with how many days. So by Wednesday, we'll be at 101. Too bad it won't be 100 because that'd be a great episode to have. But I'm getting super excited. If you are a Notre Dame fan, you should be absolutely thrilled about our recruiting class for next year. 2 more 4-stars coming in. Sullivan Asher choosing us over Clemson, 4-star offensive lineman. And then 4-star linebacker, I believe, out of South Carolina chose as well. And we are in the front running for 5-star quarterback out of Detroit, Michigan, Dante Moore. Fresh Prince of South Bend is coming, and it's going to be fantastic. This recruiting class is looking absolutely ridiculous. I've watched some interviews of these recruiting guys after they made their acceptance into Notre Dame and what they're saying about Marcus Freeman. I've got just hopes that you can't even think about for this university. We'll talk more about that. But all in all, so much stuff going on. Kellen's got one more thing.
I have a couple of things because we're talking about college football, which we haven't talked about in a while. One, I can't disagree with you on anything you're saying about Notre Dame football anymore because it's all factual at this point. You guys are just Marcus Freeman is a recruiting god.
We're dominating the recruiting class.
Like it's stupid. And I've voiced my distaste for Notre Dame, and I just want to say that was mainly because Brian Kelly was a douchebag, and I hated him with a fiery passion. Even before he left, I despised the man because he looked like a little tiny cherry tomato, grew arms and legs, and decided to be a head coach. And I just wanted to punch him every chance I got. And also, he didn't win anything. He didn't win squat. But Marcus Freeman seems like a very nice dude, family first, understands what the history of Notre Dame is all about, and has implemented that into his recruiting plan, and it's working out wonderfully. And I wish Marcus Freeman the best. 2, I have a trivial fact for you, Brandon. So I'm gonna see.
A fact or a question?
It's a question. You have to guess what the answer is.
Okay, well then say you have a trivia question, not a trivia fact.
Well, it is a fact, but you're just gonna guess what the fact is. Who is the all-time leader in passing yards and passing touchdowns for Clemson University?
For passing yards and touchdowns?
Yeah. It's the same player.
Would it be Deshaun Watson?
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
You are incorrect.
Okay, so who is it?
It's Taj Boyd.
Holy shit. I remember when he played. Holy hell. That was a team like that's when Clemson started coming on.
2011 to 2013.
And then what? Watson was a year after that?
I think Watson was a year or 2 after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that Taj Boyd era is when Clemson started getting their name in
when
there.
Sweeney
and
was coming into his own.
Taj Boyd, Jesus.
Wild, right?
Who the hell was? Wow, that's insane. I would have never thought of that. Because I know he got drafted. I think he got drafted by Carolina or Houston at the time.
I think it was. Hang on a second. I can find out for you real quick. Taj Boyd was a 6th round pick to the New York Jets.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah,
and fantastic. Then played for your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I do remember that now. But
also, wow. I don't know if you've seen any of the photos and images of mock-ups for this, but the college football pod system is something that's been going around a lot because Texas and Oklahoma will be joining the SEC, and there's been talks about conferences moving towards pods.
So pretty much them governing themselves. They want to move away from the NCAA. So it's powerhouse.
No, it'd be like in the conference, there's 3 pods. So like the
Like
SEC,
pools, like groups.
yeah, so like the SEC, there'd be like one part that's like Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and
Okay, I
and
get what you mean now.
Kentucky, and then it'd be like they'd spread it out like that, and then that way each conference would have like a 4-team playoff for the championship, extending the football season even more, making more revenue, and having really fun games, and spreading out the conferences in a way that I think would be beneficial. Because in the Big Ten, I know because I have to live it every year, the East always has better teams than the West does. Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Penn State tend to be a lot better than whoever the number one team in the West is. I'm sorry, Wisconsin and Iowa, but that's just kind of the way it is. Um,
Yeah, I
uh,
didn't know that thing about the pod system actually. So that's actually interesting. I'll probably look more into that.
well, I saw it's just talk that because of the way Texas and Oklahoma are moving over, and the SEC is going to have an influx of teams, and they're looking to see if they can spread Texas and Texas A&M further apart, so like that way they'd have like they wouldn't have to play each other all the time. I don't know
Hmm.
why they do that. But it's an interesting concept that I think if they did right could be actually pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely be interesting. We'll definitely talk more about that. I guess storyline of them making a pod system when we can get Alex back on because I think he'll have some great insight on that. I'd love to get his feedback. No, I mean listen, I'm glad to be back. It's Monday. Weather's been super nice. Great weekend of sports. The weather was beautiful this past weekend. Um, Another reminder though, I wish I had like a little like graphic that just showed up just anywhere where I pointed was like, hey, subscribe to YouTube. But it doesn't show up. We're not at that point yet. But with your help, we can get to that point. We had, I think, 3 more subscribers over this past weekend from all the reels that we were doing and all the content we are dropping on Twitter and Instagram. We got a little bit more followers on Instagram right now. If you could help us get to 100 followers on Instagram, we're so close. It's not even, I mean, yes, it's a personal benefit, but it's also a benefit to you guys, which we can provide even better videos and better content with better software as well going forward. Once again, we appreciate everything you guys have done. Stay tuned for all the polls on Twitter. If you're not following, hit that follow button. Derek Foster, once again, sorry, bud. I had your Suns winning that game 7, but they get blown out and look horrible. Love to get your take on how you thought the game was on Twitter. Just shoot us a tweet at us, or send us a direct message. And once again, keep an eye out for our giveaways and polls to come on the show. I want to get more people on. Kellen's got some close buddy of his that we want to bring on. They've got some insight on other teams outside of Notre Dame and Penn State and Iowa State and Iowa that would probably be great to have, especially when it comes closer to college football season. Baseball season's getting in full swing. Saw pictures today of Chicago Cubs. The ivy is now in full bloom, which is always the best thing to see in sports, is going to see that ivy wall in Wrigleyville. Other than that, Kellen, I've got nothing else. We've got a game 1 of the Western Conference or Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow. We both are taking the Bucks to win that series. You in 6, I'm in 7.
The who now? The who now?
The Bucks? Oh, wow. The Celtics. I'm sorry. Celtics in 7. Celtics in 6. You pick 6. I pick 7. Sorry, Bucks. Sorry, Giannis. Yeah, that's not good. I won't do that again. But other than that, I've got nothing else, dude.
Neither do I. I think that's about it. I do think it's wild that Will Levis is getting projected to be the number 1 pick by some draft prospects. That's pretty wild. I don't understand why, even though he's the next Penn State quarterback. I don't see it. Either way, that's another topic for another episode where we focus more on college football, hopefully coming up soon as we're only 103 days away. But I think that's all we got, folks. So let us know what you want to hear, whether that's on Twitter or Instagram or even Facebook or on YouTube. If you made it this far, we appreciate it. Tell us if you like the new logo. We love it. And we love you. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you.